So the live-action Monster High movie was a thing, and weirdly, it wasn't bad. It wasn't great, nor does it live up to the original's potential, but I think others should take the chance and watch it. Want to know why? Stick around for my thoughts. So the plot of Monster High surrounds Claudine Wolf, half monster, half human, who decides to go to the school that her mother once went to. Similar to the first gen of Monster High, where Frankie was the main character, and second gen, where Draculaura was the main character, this third gen / reboot, we have Claudine as the main one that drives the story. While at the school, Claudine transforms into her human self and desperately tries to find a cure to get rid of her human side so she isn't exposed for being human at school. She investigates Hyde, a half-monster's notes who once went to the school and was forcibly removed to find his cure for his human side before the alumni dinner she's set to speak at. That is as much spoiler-free partial summary I'll give if you haven't watched the movie already. Go ahead and do so and come back. Now, the movie as a standalone is an okay movie. Definitely nothing spectacular, seeing as it's made for kids. The twist ending was predictable, at least for my sister and I. The whole time I kept saying to Jen that something fishy was up with the teacher. The movie doesn't hint at this, but if you ever watched any movie, especially ones with twist villains or a plot twist, then you can pick up on movie cues that could possibly happen. I didn't think the teacher was going to be related to Hyde, but I knew something had to happen because besides the headmistress and the students, he was the only other main character. As a teacher, he's not important, but as a villain, most definitely. Now, what did I actually like about this film as a standalone? 1, I liked how bright it was. 2, though the posters that came out prior to the movie were bad in my opinion, the overall fashion of the entire movie was not. My favorite goal was definitely Frankie's fashion. It's not saying much since they didn't overall give off the academia aesthetic, but they were the best dressed than anyone else. 3, Cleo. I am still upset that they ruined Cleo and Deuce's relationship in this reboot. I'll get into that later, but I am just happy her character hasn't changed. Besides Cleo and maybe Frankie, I think everyone else had their personalities change, or new and different quirks were added to the characters that changed them from the original, for better or for worse. However, Cleo stayed the same, entitled, rude, fierce. Plus, her one-liners were funny. Not funny, haha, but just funny.
It wasn't a compliment, it's scorching my gauze. Please step back.
And that hair, there's a reason a dead person let you have it.
Don't Cleo patronize me.
Lastly, the songs. Damn, I didn't expect to jam the songs consistently 2 or 3 weeks later. My favorite is the opening, Coming Out the Dark, Three of Us, Spark, Trust, and This Is Who I Am. Everyone's vocals were nice and pleasant to listen to, and I think even if you don't watch the movie, you should check the soundtrack out. I already memorized these songs after my 3rd listen of the entire album. I don't know if that's something I should brag about.
No.
Now, here is what I didn't like about the movie as a standalone film, not thinking about the prior animated content. 1, Deuce. Even when not thinking about the original, Deuce just gives me Jughead vibes and I didn't like it. Plus, the whole glasses thing was weird for me. In the movie, he wears these clear glasses and people can look into his eyes, but when he takes it off, he can turn anyone into stone when looked at. But how does his power not work through clear glasses? How is that protective? It's like they wanted to get rid of the fact he wore dark glasses, but didn't give a good enough reason why wearing clear glasses would make more sense. 2, this is more of a nitpick, but the CGI was fine in some places, but really bad or weird in others. For example, it was good with Heath's hair and bad during Claudine's transformation back to being a human. It was hard not to be distracted by it. But still props to the crew for doing a really good job with the budget and equipment they had. 3, I didn't really like the dancing. The camera changed position so many times for it to ever land on more than one move, so it was already hard to watch and understand the movements fully. Plus, some of their choices didn't make any sense. 4, lastly, a vampire doing witchcraft. It doesn't make sense why, as a vampire, Draculaura would do witchcraft, when as a vampire, she has her own abilities. So, as a standalone film, that is what I liked and didn't like from a viewer's perspective. Now, as a longtime Monster High fan, let's get into what I liked and definitely didn't like about the film. 1, I like Frankie's character. I didn't mind the change of Frankie from being a she to a they because it makes sense. They are a mix of various body parts from various people with different genders. I also liked how they would spark and then say a fact since their brain is made up of various people. It's weird though that they didn't know what a movie was or high five and couldn't instantly find out when other times they did the spark thing and found out knowledge about things they didn't know about. I say this especially when it would happen without them realizing. Now, for what I didn't like. 1. The essence of these characters were changed. For the first reboot, even though they went softer with the characters' look, the characters had the same or similar characteristics and backgrounds. Now for the movie, that has changed. Claudine is now an only child. She's half human, she wears glasses, and is a lot more quirky. Prior, Claudine was fierce, didn't let people walk over her, and had a sense of style. She was also a protective older sibling when it came to Helene, who I hope still exists in this new version, but I doubt it. Another example, and the most drastic, is Draculaura. Before, she was sweet, always saw the good in people, and wanted to be others' friends. Now she's ruder, gets annoyed by others, and blunt. The character in the movie says they are opposite to a monster who wants a sense of community, yet that is exactly what the OG Draculaura wanted.
You know the type of monster who loves to be surrounded with others so they feel a real sense of connection and community? I'm not one of those monsters. So please, keep to your side of the room, and I won't have to suck all your blood out.
No! No!
Draculaura gave off more Cleo than her original counterpart. I do wonder if the animated movie or show that is coming out soon will follow in this direction, because I hope not. Other characters that changed were Gulia. She went from being a zombie who was slow, dead, and doesn't speak to being able to walk like everyone else and talk. Gulia in the original was really smart, and I don't know how this Gulia compares since we didn't see her much, but I doubt it's the same. The only character that stayed the same was the comedy relief character Heath. I think everyone looked like the characters in this movie, but no one acted like their characters from the original. Similar to the Winx Club reboot, we have the names attached, but not the same characters presented. 2. Erasure of characters. Similar to the changes of characters' personalities, characters I can already know won't exist are any of Claudine's siblings, since in this new version she's an only child, plus Jackson and Holt, since they were used in the backstory during the teacher whatever his name was class. Meaning Heath probably doesn't have a half-human cousin anymore. Though it was Jekyll and Hyde, not Jackson and Holt, so perhaps there is still hope. 3. The addition to witchcraft in this universe being bad. In the original, there were witches before, but now it's considered a bad human practice that monsters shouldn't get involved with. Based on the ending, there will be a sequel involving the witches, and Draculaura will be the center of it. I just hope we don't stop exploring her vampire side to make her a witch. Is Draculaura a vegan in this new universe? We see she can transform into a bat, but is that all she can do? We see that she can walk outside in the sun, but is that all? Will we ever get to see more of the vampire side, or will the magic stuff just overpower it? 4. Juice and Cleo's relationship. These two went through a lot, and I think their growth in Boo York really solidified this couple for me. So to see the history go is disheartening. I think it's worse that Juice and Claudine will be in a relationship in this new version. I personally didn't see a connection since they didn't have much solo screen time together, and I like the idea that Claudine in the original wasn't bored crazy like the creator of Monster High explained before. In this version, she gets triggered by Juice, which triggers her flight or fright response, which triggers her transformation back into a human, which, okay, I didn't like it, but it's there, so we have to go with it, I guess. Anyways, I am a Juice and Cleo fan for life. Overall, this movie was okay. As a first watch, it was fine, but I couldn't get through the second watch. I think the soundtrack definitely made me like it more than I thought I would, but I couldn't stop not thinking about the original when watching it. I do know we have to keep in mind that this is a reboot and an adaptation. Even if we, as old fans, don't like this, it wasn't meant for us. It's meant for a new generation and for kids, which I know is upsetting because it was fans like us that accepted the gothic aesthetic of the original dolls and movies because they are monsters. So I go for a softer, cutesy approach when it should be more edgier. Now, it's those fans that aren't being thought about in the 2 reboots Monster High has undergone. They are appealing to the general market, or the idea of softer looking dolls are better. Plus, they are appealing to a new generation rather than the older ones who have stuck beside them for years, and it is through reboots like this that shun fans away. Take Barbie, for example. Barbie went from doing movies in a more fantastical setting to relatability, which is fine, but it does exclude the already existing audience who can't adapt to a new change, or older fans who grew up with their memorable and over-the-top movies. I have a whole video explaining Barbie movies' evolution and changes within phases, if anyone is interested. I bring this up because we are in a day and age where reboots are happening left and right, or adaptations that take the liberty to significantly change the pre-existing property, such as Barbie, Disney, Winx, etc. And it's hard to accept change, but the property has moved on without us, and if you can't get on board, then get out the way.
Get on board or get out of the way.
It's surprising that they are attempting another reboot since their first one did not go so well, yet they're still going in the same direction than doing what they know most people want and what can actually sell. However, since this is more of a hard reset than prior, they have a fresh start to rewrite everything they have ever pre-established, meaning new people who couldn't get into Monster High before can now. This doesn't mean you should intensely dislike a reboot or adaptation of an older property, because good can come out of it. More on-screen representation and diversity is better, progressive, and inclusive to thousands to millions of more people than a closed-minded and singular race cast. I do not want to hate the movie because it wasn't made for my grown 19-year-old self, and that is okay. I can appreciate the movie for the way it is, and I can stick to the originals. Just because this movie exists doesn't mean the older movies go away. Thank you for watching my quick review. Let me know your thoughts down below and how you felt about the movie. If you like this video, check out our other videos, especially our Fate the Wings Saga Season 2 review that my sister did. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you want. Have an amazing day. Remember, stay kid at heart. Peace.